We begin with the paper of Dr. Ghassan Nagagreh. Just few words. He's assistant professor of sustainable tourism department, College of Arts at al-Kalima University. Finished his PhD from the universities Paris 1 and Paris 10. Specialized in archaeology of Palestine in the late Bronze and Iron Age with a focus on the Tel Dothan pottery. Dr. Nagagreh focuses on the continuity, development, and evolution of the material culture in Palestine in the late Bronze Age and Iron Age. In addition, he carried out several archaeological excavations at several sites around the country. At al-Kalima, Dr. Nagagreh teaches several topics such as tourism, archaeology, history, and anthropology of Palestine. Please, Dr. Nagagreh.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for coming. I'd like to start with a very short story about me. In fact, I got most of my scholarships for my education, not because I was smart or a nerdy student, but because in those applications I used to write or state that I want to do this because I want to attempt to write history of Palestine through Palestinian point of view. And I'm still doing that. So, back to the topic. In fact, cultural continuity through material culture, why we call it continuity? It's because I think that the period that I am focusing on, which is the late Bronze and the Iron Age, and the transition between the two ages is very, very important in terms of the discussion about politics and history of the land. So I came to a conclusion through some inspiring papers of this conference to say that the year, if we consider the year 1200 BC is the year that we are talking about all the biblical account and narrative, it is very similar to the year 1948. 1948, everything has changed, material culture, new style of life which was brought by the Israelis. This is going to be implied on also the Iron Age 1, when the Israelis claiming that it's the beginning of the Israelite period. So, in order to show that the end of Later Bronze and the beginning of the Iron Age is no difference, I went in depth into studying one site that summarizes or brings some results about this particular period, which is in the eye of the Oriental view or colonizing view or all that, is a new birth of a nation. So we want to check that in a little archaeology depth. So I'm talking just briefly, I'm talking about the period late Bronze and Iron Ages, which is about 1550 to 1200 BC. which is the late bronze, and then the Iron Age, which starts 1200 until almost 586. This period is particularly known for conquest, for Joshua, for distractions everywhere, a birth of new identity, a new ethnicity. Everything has completely finished, and a new thing has started. And this is the notion that was given in the last 100 years. So we don't really know if that's true or not, if that's the literature and the interest of some people to mark this period as if it's a period similar to 1948. So we want to examine that, and also in examining that, when I tell the short story, I'm still doing that. I'm still trying to do history of the land through our own point of view. We have the right to write our history, but we need to walk a long way to start to be able to write. We have to understand what it takes to be able to write a history of this land. It's not an easy job. It needs all kind of sciences and knowledge and skills. So one of them is archaeology. So again, we are talking about Palestine and geographical regions of Canaan. I would say ancient Palestine. And you see the light green, that's the area which is supposed to be the highlands, which I carried my main interest is in. In my work, I came to a site called Tel Dutan. It's between Jenin and Nablus. This site is very important because it's in the heart of the highland, in the heart of the area, where if right, all biblical narrative or account had took place in this area, including the site. Whether it's a conquest or all these theories that were developed during the last 100 years. I'm not going to talk about the theories because I don't want to go back to talk the same thing. I want to continue in my own way. So the site, as I've mentioned, is not far from Sahel Marj bin Amir. It's not far from Nablus, it's not far from the coast and the Jordan Valley, which gives it a very important strategic location in the heart of Palestine and the heart of the highlands. The site, as you can see, is located in a very beautiful landscape. It has this very fertile plain which attracted people to live there since thousands of years. As you can see, one photograph and the two others are from Google, but the one on the left, upper left, is the site from the top, and the one below is the whole plain with the red dot pointing the side, so it controls almost the whole area. The excavations, the site has been excavated, yes, about 70 or 80 years ago. It was then neglected because the period that was supposed to be important was neglected as well in the early in the 30s and 40s of the the biblical activities of finding the land, excavating. So the particular story about this site is that the late Bronze, which supposed to be the period where Canaanite, or ancient Palestinian, let's say ancient Palestinian, lived there. So whenever they find such remains in the late Bronze, which means 1,500 to 1,200, they will be immediately hidden. No one cares about publishing such a material because sometimes they wanted to show that this period in the highlands is almost empty. No one is living there. And because afterwards, in the next age, the Iron Age, there will be a brand new ethnicity that will flourish. So excavations took place in all these areas on top of the tell, including a cemetery that was found on the slopes of the tell. It's called Cemetery, Western Cemetery, where some tombs were found. Among them is a very important tomb, a very large tomb contained about 4,000 ceramic vessels. So if you see a top plan of the tomb, divided into several chambers, and a photo of the tomb. So people were buried there, and in fact, when they excavated it, and it was never published, it's characteristically it was from the late Bronze, but then we don't know what's the case. So when we came to study, we found that through some typological studies, classification of ceramics in this tomb, we found that the tomb extends about 400 years of use, starting from middle of the late Bronze until the end of the Iron Age 1. It's the period that is supposed to be a period where, as I said before, a new ethnicity appears with new material culture and all that. So, in fact, how did we know also that it's 400 years? It's 400 years. How did we know, and how did we know that there are distinctions between in this tomb? Because the tomb was divided into 5 different levels. When each level is complete, they would seal it. They would cover it with mud, so ancestors will be kept, and then the family or the people will use it again in the later period. So when we look at the pictures, we see how the 4,000 vessels were distributed and buried in the tomb. So dating of the tomb and of the levels shows that it was 1,400 until 1,000 in the transition within it. So the material we got, so now the results of what we've got some materials that were imported with a percentage of this import material and what it means. We've got also some diagnostic vessels that belongs, one of them to the late Bronze and one of them to Iron Age, and also we found materials that has traces not only from the late Bronze but from the Middle Bronze. That means that the tradition is continuing, not only in the late bronze, like specifically at this point we are talking about the material. No, but I found that especially the picture upper middle and the two lower pictures, those are middle bronze traditions before late bronze. We found also some distinctive pieces that belongs to Iron Age, which were evolved through time. These are, just want to show some each level, what each level has. The type of typology that we do, how shapes have developed or changed or continued to be used. So if you see on the upper, on the top, that's the lower layer of the tomb, the oldest one, and how slowly with the years it's changing a little bit, because people wanted that change. And also on the other side is the most common tool that people use, which is the bowls to eat. So it's only to date the stuff that we use and to see if there's like a major change, or just they wanted to do this to change, to modify. So also here is a long process of the typology and seriology of the sites, how the percentage of each material, and how many of this material is in this location, is in this level, did it continue, did something new appeared. And so these also, in archaeology we have this language, drawing language of ceramics. So all archaeologists, when they're looking for reports, they should see drawings like this. These were drawn, these were hand drawn by me, more than 800 pieces. And this is also goes into microscopic analysis of the material. Where did the material came from? According to the fabric, the soil of the material, and in fact, if it was local, if it was made locally, or if it was made in different areas of the world. So I found that 93% of the material were local. It was made from soil around ton to ton. In fact, also there are some from the coast. A few came from Cyprus and so on. Last section, it's the comparison. To compare the material to other sites. Does it look the same? Is there a difference? So when we look at all the excavated sites since 100 years and read the reports and try to sift in the reports, I came to find so many of the material in these excavated sites. And it's very important, because we can't look at one place as if it's just this one, there's nothing around it. And when I look, this is a very important. When I look at these sites, I see that the whole region has similar materials. Nothing, I think, important has changed in the place. So this leads me to conclude that I think that, of course, this looks like very complicated to do for some, and also for me. But we need to, as I said, we need to walk along.
Dr. Ghassan, 3 minutes?
3 minutes, yeah.
Okay, 3 minutes.
So it's a long process. Yes, it's complicated. It looks like physics or chemics, very boring. But if it's boring to see it, but we see the influence of physics and mathematics on all that in our lives, although it's boring. And also, I get something very important out of it. And in fact, I say that this conference inspired me. It inspired me to try to think in another way, not only to go through this, okay, masculine, yes, I can do this. I show you that I can do the work that you're doing for 100 years, but also, I need also to be simple. I need to try to find a way to just say, this is how I know this material. This is how I know from several villages. This is what we use now. I don't want to convince anyone that this is what history, and I don't want to go through the other's way of doing history. I can do it myself. With this, I just want to say another last word. Ancient Palestinian, old Palestinian is very important, and writing history, that's to answer a question from a colleague who read my article. I hope you answered your question, and thank you very much, everyone.